What's going on is the Wolf, and we back with another episode of The Couch. And today I'm gonna be joined by the one and only Radia, aka RadiRxch, aka Rich in Spirit. She a fashion and wardrobe stylist. And I'm excited for this conversation, very high vibrational conversation, good energy about to be blessing us. And you know, we about to just be in for a good conversation. Let's get it.
Hey Wolf,
What's going on?
why should I register my business with First Step Marketing and not LegalZoom?
Can I do some examples?
Yep,
All right, cool. What am I holding in my hand?
iPads.
And which one would you pay more for?
That one.
Are you referring to the black one?
Yep,
Why?
because it's bigger, it looks nicer, it holds more information.
What about now? What am I holding in my hand?
Books.
Which one would you pay more for?
Neither.
Why not?
They're the same book, they hold the same information.
Okay, so that pretty much describes why you should come to First Step Marketing and not LegalZoom. Don't pay more to get the same information. Don't pay more to get the same results. We are offering you the same information and you'll get the same results by registering your business with First Step Marketing, and you'll save a ton of money. Come check us out. And we back with another episode of The Couch. Like I said, we find ourselves joined by the one and only Radia, aka RadiRxch, who happens to be a fashion and wardrobe stylist.
Yes.
You give me fashion style though, like you give me them vibes. Like I'm looking at you very stylish right now. So how much time did it take you to get dressed?
Honestly, 20 minutes.
Never.
But it took me an hour to find my outfit though.
Ah, there we go. I knew
Yeah.
the time was going somewhere, so an hour to find
Yeah.
it, but then once you got it, you just put it together.
Yeah.
All right, so just to give you a brief of how it goes, we're gonna give the audience a little bit about you, and then we're gonna get into the discussion. So I'll let you further introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. My name's Radia. I go by RadiRxch. That's my Instagram handle, and I am a fashion stylist and a wardrobe stylist. I've been styling now for 6 years. Some of the things that I've done was Women History Month this year for BET. I've done a lot of fashion shows for like Celine, doing dressing work. I've been featured in Essence magazine as well, just to say the least. Those are like two of my favorite projects, and yeah, I love what I do.
You're not nervous.
I am
No, I'm
nervous.
joking. That you actually that's a pretty impressive resume. That's what's
Thank
up. And even just listening, I learned more about you just hearing the things that the projects you worked on and the places you was featured. But I gotta start here. So the name RadiRxch. Now you obviously spell it different.
Yeah.
But like, first of all, what's the inspiration? And then second of all, how often do people kind of bring that up?
All the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I honestly, I love when I hear people call me RadiRxch.
Okay.
The inspiration is, it's like my name playing on like the psychology of putting yourself in the place of attracting.
Okay.
So me telling myself that I'm rich all the time
Yeah.
is like people calling me RadiRxch. It's like already affirming that I'm
affirming it.
rich. So
That's
yeah.
fire. So when did you come up with the name?
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I came up with the name maybe about 3 years ago, but
Okay.
I switched my name when I had like a mishap on social media, and like I needed to change my whole identity for the most part. And I was just like, you know, if I have to rebrand myself, what would my higher self want me to look like or sound like or be like? And my friend was just like, you know, the box by RadiRxch, the rapper, was on, and she was just like, you could like literally call yourself RadiRxch. Like that would be so dope.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to get into it because I was just like, maybe it might be controversial. But then I was talking to my dad about it, and he was just like, you know, think about just your lifestyle and just how you are. It fits you perfectly. So that's kind of how I got the name.
So I gotta unpack, right? So like, you said you had to change your identity.
Yeah.
What was the mishap?
It was like, I don't want to go too into detail about it because it's a very sensitive topic for me.
Understandable.
But it was something that kind of happened on social media where, like, you know, having a platform, I didn't really know how to really handle myself, and I didn't know the value of myself being around certain people. And a lot of people aren't really there to really support you. Some people are there to actually destroy and kill whatever it is that you have. So I had someone like put my number up and put my name up, and I was getting like threats and things like that. And I was just like, you know, let me just deactivate my page and kind of just start over. And it made me take a step back, but it was something that I actually really needed because God was like giving me that cue, but I was being hard-headed, not listening. So it's kind of like a really big tower moment that happened for me, where I took a year off of social media and just was like, you know, I kind of got to come back bigger and better.
So what was that initial comeback like? Was you nervous coming back into it, or was it something where you already had did so much work that you was literally prepared for whatever you was about to be up against?
I was nervous. I was. It's something about, like, I handle failure well. Like, I don't take my failures to the heart very often, but reputation is key.
Yeah.
So I was afraid that my reputation might have been ruined. Yeah.
And you know what's, I was just talking to my daughter and my nieces about reputation, right? Especially with them being young black women coming up, right? And I was expressing that to them, but I gotta say, and it's in a book that I'm actually writing right now, there's a quote. And I said, whenever my reputation is on trial, my character is gonna show up as my lawyer to defend me.
I love that.
So it's like, people could do whatever to try to destroy your reputation, but it could be recreated, like you did, right? But your character is going over, it overpowers anything, because there's like certain things like, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I know Radia, she wouldn't do that, right? So it's like, even when people put out these attacks, because so many people are not happy with themselves, so it's like, they literally are out to destroy, right?
Yes.
But when we're gonna get into the whole spiritual realm and energy and different aspects of that conversation, but just understanding that within the law of polarity, it's always going to be a polar opposite. So for just as many people that's out on your side, it's going to be just as many people that's out. But you said something that was key. So you didn't understand your brand at the time, right?
Yeah.
But that's what you had to go through. Because I question myself. I'm like, I was just saying it to my assistant and even my friends, like, yo, I don't like the feeling. I don't want to be a prisoner to my brand where like you trying to be overprotective of it, right?
Yeah.
But you kind of you want to find that happy space where it's like, you know what? I know what not to do. And anything that I know what not to do, anything else is out of my control, right? And that's the part that I'm working towards arriving at. So, I was at a point where I used to be overly on it, like, let me make sure, because I've seen it. I've seen people do things and try to destroy, but now I just be like, you know what? I trust myself to make the right decision at the right time, and, I trust the outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, that was big, and I never even knew that. Like I stumbled across your page. I think I even seen like a clip of you doing like an interview, and they was asking you about your name and all of that. And ever since then, I just was following you, and I see your content on TikTok, and I watch your stuff on Instagram, and I like the way you think. Right?
Oh, thank you.
And then it was just funny, and I was ironic that like when I got on live, they was like, yeah, bring RadiRxch on your show. Da, da, da. So then you happened to come
hilarious.
on there. I'm like, you might as well come on the show, right?
Yeah.
So. It's crazy how I felt like we attracted this conversation, right? But just getting all the way back to it. So where do you think you at now within your brand and with social media, and like, what's your current perspective?
My current perspective, so I am doing styling in increments now because I want to do what I want to do, and I want to create my own avenue. Yeah. I found that in fashion, I would get so tripped up in what I felt like people wanted to see from me and who I had to be working with and what I had to be doing. And right now I'm kind of just using myself as a muse. I'm exploring myself, I'm getting to know myself, and I'm going through trial and error with myself first. Because being a stylist, I can't know my client if I don't know myself.
100%, right.
I can't dress my client to the T if I don't know measurements for myself. I don't have those things for myself. So I'm utilizing myself right now as a muse, but right now I am a vet in it, you would say, because I've been 6 years in Philly, and I've paved the way for a lot of people here, but I am arriving as the student now. Yeah. So it's interesting for me. Yeah. It's fun.
I always say that, I don't never consider myself an expert, a guru. I'm just a high performing student. I might tutor you, but I'm still learning myself. Yeah. But so like, I want to talk about the fashion side of you. How far back does that go? You've been in this industry for 6 years, but I know it didn't start 6 years ago. So yeah, let's talk about it.
My dad, my grandmom, I come from just like a fashionable family.
Okay, so your dad be throwing that shit on?
Period.
Okay.
He do. My dad is the one who taught me personal style, but my grandmother is very traditional. So like my outfit tonight was inspired by my grandmother. Yeah. This is something that she wanted me to wear. I told her I was coming here tonight, and she was just like, she's very big on class and just elegance. So it was just inspired by her. Silver is one of her favorite colors and one of her favorite things. So that's where that comes from. But honestly, ever since I was a baby, my dad would change my clothes 3 times a day and take me everywhere. And because I was just such a beautiful baby, and he would just take me places, and people wanted to hold me, and they would take pictures of me. So it was something that I feel like was innate for me. And then My mom, on the opposite side, she taught me more about inner beauty because she didn't care about the facade of outside of things.
That's fire.
Yeah,
I like that balance.
Yeah, so she didn't care for pictures. She didn't care for superficial things. My mother was more so of like, who are you?
Yeah.
Do you know you're beautiful inside? And don't let nobody ever change you. You can go anywhere. You can do whatever you want to do. You are beautiful.
Yeah.
You come from beautiful women. So my dad taught me personal style. My mom taught me inner beauty. But I was styling my cousins at a very early age. Like, my mom bought me such nice things. My dad bought me nice things. I lived with my grandma coming up. So it was kind of like I was the only child. She brought me a whole bunch of nice stuff. And my cousins didn't really have style.
That sounds like a humble way to say I was spoiled.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. She's humbly saying it.
Princess all the time. But they would come to me and be like, what should I wear for this party? Or can I hold your clutch? Can I hold your bag? And I'll be like, no, don't wear that color, wear that color. And I would watch videos all the time, like just be inspired by Jay-Z's videos. Like Big Pimpin' was like the turning point for me when he created that video. Because the women were on the yachts with furs and diamonds and they were just doing all type. And I was like, how are they doing that? And from that point forward, I was intrigued. But I was in nursing school at the time.
When Big Pimpin' came out?
Yeah, well, not at that time, but after that time.
Okay.
When Big Pimpin' came out, I was young as hell.
Yeah. Cause I'm like, I'm gonna ask you that.
To skip a few, like after that, I didn't really take fashion that serious. I just had a passion for it. So I would just, again, use myself as a muse. So I would get dressed up, and there was like a Poppy store that was like 2 blocks away. And I would get dressed and go to the Poppy store every day just so everybody can see me. Because like all of the guys were outside the Poppy store. All of the girls that was like known girls in the hood, they was out there. And I was just like, you know, I want people to see my outfit.
Yo, you said a lot, and there's a lot that I want to unpack. But before we do, we're going to cut to a quick commercial break, so don't go nowhere, because we come back, we're going to continue this conversation with RadiRxch. Let's go.
Hey Wolf,
What's going on?
why should I register my business with First Step Marketing and not LegalZoom?
Can I give you some examples?
Yep,
All right, cool. What am I holding in my hand?
iPads.
And which one would you pay more for?
That one.
Are you referring to the black one?
Yep.
Why?
Because it's bigger, it looks nicer, it holds more information.
What about now? What am I holding in my hand?
Books.
Which one would you pay more for?
Neither.
Why not?
They're the same book, they hold the same information.
Okay, so that pretty much describes why you should come to First Step Marketing and not LegalZoom. Don't pay more to get the same information. Don't pay more to get the same results. We are offering you the same information, and you'll get the same results by registering your business with First Step Marketing, and you'll save a ton of money. Come check us out. Before we cut to a commercial break, I was saying you unpacked a lot. So much to unpack. So first of all, I want to go back to when you was addressing your grandmom and your father, and you spoke to them, teaching you style, and your grandmom like having this. So does she have like a big personality? For silver to be her favorite color, that's like.
No, my grandmama is very reserved as a woman.
Okay. So that comes with the class aspect of it.
Yeah, a woman of very few words, but her essence was very powerful.
Okay.
Like she was like one of those, well, she is one of those people that when she walk in, it's like, my grandmother's name is Athena. Everybody's like want to get to know her, or they know something about her. It's like her outfit is always a conversation starter, even though she's not really that much of a talker.
Would you say that was intentional, or would you say that that's something a trait that you took from her?
I definitely took that from her, because unless I'm comfortable with you, I don't talk a lot. I'm like show up and show out. I don't have to say much. Yeah.
So when you used to walk to the store, you would just walk past everybody, just not say nothing?
I just would it was like a modeling runway for me. It was just like, you know, I would walk there, I would go in, I always had money, so I would get snacks. The Poppy store owner, I knew him since I was like yay old, so it was like even anything that I wanted or whatever, they would take pictures of me, put it inside of there. I actually did a photo shoot 2 years ago, and I went back to see him, and I was just telling him everything that I accomplished, and he was like so surprised. He was in tears. He was like, I haven't seen you in so long.
Dang, that's fire.
Yeah, it was a really full circle moment. So
another thing, and let me know if this is touching too deep, right? You speak about your mom.
Yeah.
So how's the relationship now?
I feel like because of the road that I took, we have 2 different outlooks on life. I chose books. My mom was very street-like.
Okay.
So I learned a lot about the streets, but based on what I learned, I didn't want to go near it.
Okay.
I didn't like the way that, to me, I didn't like the way that women were handled in that
in that
field.
environment. Yeah.
So I took more of my grandmother's teaching. So it kind of gave us like, we were more like sisters.
Okay.
Like we kind of feel like we got the same mom because my grandmom is kind of like my mom. But for the most part, I don't have a bad relationship with my mom. It's just kind of just like.
This mom.
Yeah, like this is my mom. Yeah.
That's what's up. I asked because I was listening to, you speak a lot about your dad and you speak a lot about your grandma and you referenced your mom, but when you spoke, it was like more the inner thing. So then you spoke in the past tense. So I was like you kept saying was.
Yeah, because right now it's like we don't really have that much to talk about.
Okay.
I'm on a completely different path.
Yeah, it's
our conversations are very shallow. It's like, how's work or how are you feeling? Do you need anything?
Yeah.
And I make sure that she's straight.
Yeah.
She call and check up on me.
Yeah.
Like yesterday we had a 5-minute conversation. I was like about to cry because I'm like, damn, we haven't even had a 5-minute conversation in a long time.
Yeah.
So I feel like women though are different than the way that your dad dynamic is because your mom is like two women together. We're fussy.
Yeah.
So it's either we gonna bump heads a lot or we're gonna be super tight all the time. And my mom's not big on communication either. She's like the type that sweep things under the rug.
Yeah.
I'm the type where I'm very head on.
Yeah.
I want to address the issue because I love you and I don't want to keep going through the same thing.
Right.
And she's like, I love you, so I don't want to address the issue.
Like, I'm going to just let it.
Yeah.
And I think that really is accredited a lot to probably the world that she's in and the world that you're in. It's like when you love somebody in that world, you see those things as opportunity to hurt them. You don't want to.
Yeah.
But when you love them from the other end, you see it as an opportunity to heal. It's like, yo, you know what? We have to address this because we don't need this lingering.
Yeah.
But so I definitely got to tap into that, right? So like you said, your mom was like grow up like more on the street side of things.
Mm-hmm.
So like, what was that like? Like, you know what I mean? Having a mom that was in that life.
By the time I got older, she slowed down, so I didn't get to see really that part of her. My older brother did though.
Okay.
And she was by that point, it was like every time I went somewhere, a lot of people were referencing what she used to do.
Yeah.
But for the most part, she shielded me from her things that she used to do.
Yeah.
And would just tell me like, if she even felt like I was taking a step in that direction, it was just like, this is what I felt like and this is what I had to deal with as a consequence because I did that very thing that you're about to do.
Yeah.
So I did have a lot of guidance with her, especially growing up in inner Philly. Like we grew up in West Philly, South Philly area. It's fast.
Yeah.
So having her with that mindset, it had a lot of shaping to do on top of what my grandmother and my father was doing for me too.
So you had a good village, right? Because it seemed like it was like multi-dimensional, but at the same time, like it can make you a well-versed person because it's like you're not just seeing life from one perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning things as you're talking. Just even getting a briefing on your background. So did you ever go through did you have a reform moment or you just avoided it in total?
Could you go into detail with that?
So what I mean is were you ever on some shit out here and then you're like, you know what, this life not for me, or maybe you was dealing with men that's on on that and then you're like, you know what, I want to change it, or that's something that what's that dynamic?
I never liked drug dealers.
Yeah.
So definitely heavy on the no.
you see that? Why you look at the camera?
Heavy on the no, because they will, like, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I never liked that, but I did have a moment where I felt like I've always been in long-term relationships. So my first relationship, I was with him for 7th grade through college.
Yeah.
So that was a very long time.
To the end of college?
Yes. Like he was
That's
at my he was at my college graduation. Yeah.
That's like 10 years.
Yeah.
So that's like 12 to 20.
I was in a long relationship. All my friends were just like, girl, you need to be outside. Yeah. What are you, you playing mom? Like he had a kid too. So it was like, but I loved being a stepmom. I loved being there. I really preferred that over hanging out with my friends. I would just go, he had got me like a driver and everything. I would go to my friend's school and stuff like that every once in a while because they went away to college. I stayed home because I had a boyfriend. And then after that, we broke up and my world was kind of just like shattered because I was with this person for so long. It kind of felt like we was married. Yeah. And after that, my cousins, they were like, girl, you need to get in the field. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, you kind of bad. Like, what's going on? And I had guys where I was talking to them. I didn't like it though. Like, I didn't like the idea of having to entertain multiple people. I still don't. Like, I'm very much like, if I like you, I'm putting pressure behind you. If I don't, I'm chilling.
I gotta unpack that. You say you're putting pressure. So what does pressure look like for a woman? Like, you know what I mean? What's a woman's definition of pressure from your perspective, of course?
Learning you, so I can honestly cater to you and whatever it is that I feel like you need specifically. So for me, what a man needs most is a listening ear from what I've experienced in my relationship, and everything as a woman kind of follows from there, because you get to learn what it is that he's trying to do, and you pretty much do the side things that actually make that easier for him. So for me personally, making your life easier, making sure that you're good, you know what I mean? Like giving you mental stimulating conversation, like things of that nature. And I'm also like, if you take me on a date and I feel like I've gotten to know you and I like you and I feel like something that you might like, I like to surprise you with certain things that you might like. So it's like,
I'm laughing because the DM gonna be rolling.
it's like, it's small stuff. I feel like a relationship should be equally yoked. It's not just you do something for me and you need to keep, because I'm the woman, you got to do.
Right.
Like, absolutely do the most. But I do, from also what I've seen from the women in my life as well, they're great women to their men. They all were married for the most part, and they're very catering. And they were like that to their children too. So it's kind of just something that I feel like I have in me. My mom was always very submissive. She's been with the same man for 27 years. 28, going on 29, I'm sorry, I stand correct.
Damn near my whole life.
Yeah, my whole life. So it's like, it's something that I feel like it's either you have it or you don't, or you learn it.
So you consider yourself more traditional?
I am traditional.
Flat out?
Yeah.
All right, and it was something else that you said that I think was key. I haven't heard many women say it, but you said you're supposed to do things that complement what a man is doing, right? Because that go to the notion of being like a helpmate. It's like,
Yeah.
That's dope and unique. And then another key thing you said, and I don't know that I just said this in one of my videos, like my assistant asked me what was my type in the video, and I was just like, one of the key things I said was a woman that listened, right? And I knew people was going to intentionally misperceive me and think that mean like I tell you what to do, but it's like no, just listen. Like it's simple. Like don't overthink it, don't put too much thought into it. Literally just become a listening ear, especially if you're dealing with like a man that's ambitious, like got dreams. Because like I can't really speak from the perspective of a bum. I don't really know their motivation because they don't have nothing.
Yeah.
But I know that any high value man, and not to the social media standard, but just somebody that's literally going after a dream, they literally looking for them little simple and subtle things in a woman. It's not nothing extra, and I think that because it's not often said from a woman, and men do say it, but I think it get misperceived and the message get lost in translation a lot, right? So I just giving you your flowers on that. I felt like that was dope that you touched on it. But now going back to you saying that you've been around a lot of women so you think the example that they set is what made you the way you are? And do you think is that the reason why a lot of women don't have that perspective on being submissive and traditional and catering? Because all of them things have a negative connotation, negative stigma.
It definitely has a big part in that, because I went out into the world and the world taught me something completely different. It did. Like the world had me feeling like, wait, am I doing something wrong? I think that's when I started to have the most arguments in my relationship, when I really was, all right, I'm in my college year, so I'm starting to see more, I'm starting to hear more. I'm going over people's parents' house, I'm seeing how their dynamic is, and it's nothing like what I had.
So you thought your way was wrong because you had got exposed to something that was like
yeah,
different?
like I was like confused at that point. I was just like, am I doing this life thing wrong? Am I not supposed to be doing this stuff? And then my friends, I told you, they were like, you stuck up under him, or you do whatever he say. Like they were very much like, negative about it. So I started to get confused.
Yeah.
And that's when we started to have the most arguments, because I didn't know myself.
Yeah, that's a key.
Yeah.
And I want to tap more into that, but before we do, we're going to cut to another commercial break. So don't go nowhere. When we come back, we're going to get into the digging deep section of this conversation with RadiRxch. I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you should come to First Step Marketing. For one, we're affordable, which means that we are cheaper than all of our competitors, which means you get the same results, a much smoother process, and a much cheaper price. 2, we're convenient. We're located smack dead in the heart of Philadelphia. So if you live in Philly or the surrounding areas, you can pull up on us and get face-to-face service, or we can service you virtually from anywhere in the world. And 3, we're reliable. We've serviced thousands of satisfied customers who have nothing but good things to say about us and our service. And we would love to add you to that list. So look below for details. Come get with us. We can't wait to take care of you. The Wolf has spoken. All right, so let's take a few steps back, right? So, because you spoke again towards identity and not knowing yourself. And you also spoke towards your environment being very opposing to your views and the way you was carrying it. So would you say that you allowed them to basically end your relationship?
For the most part, yeah.
Do you regret that?
In the beginning, yeah, I did. But now I don't.
Oh, let's unpack.
Yeah, I don't anymore. Because when I think about where I am right now, he wouldn't fit my future. So I don't anymore, but I still look at him as a great person. And even when I need something to reference to, when it comes to a guy outside of my brothers, I do go back to that memory and that moment, because I can't say that he was a bad guy to me.
Yeah.
But in the first 2 years of time, I was just like, dag, like, like maybe I should go back or whatever. But then it's just like, I just kept proceeding forward, and he was persistent with getting me back as well, like still to this day. But I'm kind of just like, where I'm going in my life, it doesn't fit. He don't fit that narrative. And it boils down to even his family. Like, it has nothing really to do with his family. It's just more so of like, they're not working on themselves. I was trying to get him into generational healing and setting goals and things of that nature, and he was just like not with it. So it's kind of just like, I can't be with anybody that's not goal oriented, because then it will cause trouble in our relationship, because I am turning into something else as a woman, and you are still the same. So to avoid it becoming super toxic, I'm good.
So just going back to my initial question with your family first, have you seen these same cousins and girlfriends that end up in relationships find themselves now doing what you were doing, all up under their situation, and like basically almost moving and like as a hypocrite in a sense? Like
they still don't got a man.
Oh shit.
So no.
Thought it was gonna be another full circle moment.
No, they still don't got a man.
Oh, they finally see what you was going through.
Yeah, probably, or maybe they don't, because maybe if it clicks for them, they might finally. And they're older than me, so it's like it should have been clicking, but they still don't have that mindset. They're still very like combative type of women, like a lot of mouth, and just think they right all the time, want to win the argument. They're like that with us as women. So I know when their boyfriends come around, it's like you can see the friction.
Yeah, and to your point, right? What are some things that you could say to any woman out here that might be listening that hasn't arrived at self-awareness? Because I think that's where everything starts. Like, once you really have to look at yourself and start the process from there.
Yeah. Honestly, I would say take time off to know yourself. Like, it's okay to separate. It's okay to not talk to someone. It's okay to let your friends go for a little bit, because you'll start to realize that you have abandonment issues, you got isolation issues. Like, you'll realize all of the things that's actually keeping you in that space of just low vibration opposed to like vibrating higher. I'm a big advocate. It doesn't have to be a long time. Like 3 months to 6 months is a good period of time for a woman to actually spend time by herself and really get to know herself, know her body, start exercising, eating good, reading even. Like, get back into your childhood things as well. You'll find more of yourself getting to know your childhood self than you will, because we don't know our future selves. We only know our little selves and who we are right now. So when I tap into the 16-year-old me, and when I tap into the 8-year-old me and a 5-year-old, I find more that I know about myself than I do when I'm trying to think about the future.
Right.
Because I can't predict the future.
Right. You can only revisit the things that you experienced and create a new reality, so that it won't affect your future. But let me do this. It's been bothering me. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was in your eye. I wasn't gonna let you go out like that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But now you made a lot of good points, and even to the point about just certainly like reading and taking time off and setting isolation. I think that's important for a man too. I'm actually like in the middle of my 90-day fast from dating, from sex, from alcohol, and I really discovered a lot about myself in this process, and really just been able to be more intentional with my focus. And I hear a lot of the women, when they go through their journey, right, that they get out of a relationship, I'm just gonna focus on myself, and I'm you know what I mean? But I understand the journey now, because it clears a lot of confusion, creates that clarity, and a lot of that times we could be in situations that they distract us from the real cause, right? And it clouds our judgment, and we never actually isolate ourselves and detach from people and attach to ourselves and the higher self, not the lower self. We're not going to actually be growing in a way that's kind of conducive to where we want to be. So I think that everything you just said was key, and I think it's just important for both men and women. So you said reading. So what's some of your books that you read?
Well, I'm reading Think and Grow Rich now.
By Napoleon Hill.
Yeah,
That's a
I'm
good
on my
book.
last chapter with that.
You know, it's a book I never finished. Like, literally read it multiple times. I read that. I started that book like 4 or 5 times.
Oh
and
my
I
God.
have not got to chapter 13.
This is my second time, and I was like persistent, like, girl, you're gonna finish this book.
Yeah, it's
Like,
a great book.
it is, but
a
it's dragged
great-
out.
Yes.
And he is not that entertaining as a person, so I can
Yeah.
understand.
But it's so crazy because I read so many books. I understand that every book is just about a life principle. So Think and Grow Rich is just life principles involving money. Right?
Yes.
The 4 Agreements, just principles involving self-awareness. The Secret, just another principle. All of these different books are just the same principle. They just reiterated. Even my book is life principles about communication, understanding, right? So it's like once I realized that, when I started reading Think and Grow Rich, I'm like, oh, this is nothing but the power of the subconscious mind by using money. Because all we're talking about is tapping into your subconscious mind and, you know, tapping into that factor of faith, believing in things that's unseen and going after what you want, thinking your way into success, right? So it's like, it's really just going back to the notion of thoughts becoming things, right? Everything starting off as a thought and then becoming a thing. Literally, everything was an idea first. Nothing existed in this world before it existed in the mind.
Yeah.
And Think and Grow Rich is just materializing that in a wealth way, like how Benjamin Franklin. No, somebody worked their way into a partnership. Was it with Ben Franklin? That was like in chapter 1. It was a Burning Desire. The chapter about the Burning Desire. The guy, he worked his way into a partnership. I want to say it was with Benjamin Franklin, but it could have been Einstein. It was one of them people from back then. But the guy just kept saying, I'm going to be business partners with him. And he just stopped at nothing. And what I took from that...
Oh,
you know what I'm talking
yeah, I do
Yeah.
know what you're talking about.
Was
Yeah,
it
the
Franklin?
desire. I don't remember exactly
person it
verbatim
was.
either, but I remember the
Yeah.
principle of it.
And basically, it was just like, you know, we're going to burn the ship. It's like when we go and say we doing this, like, we doing it, right?
Yeah.
Like when they said, it's like when Harriet Tubman said liberty or death, it's like we either going to be free or we're going to die trying.
Yeah.
And it's like she had that desire to where, though, I'm not letting nothing stop me. So that's a principle. It's just like having that faith in, like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do it. So I felt like a lot of books is just wrapped around it. But I did interrupt you. You was about to tell me your second book. So what else? Or was that your favorite book right now? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's like my favorite right now. I was reading something about being a girl boss before that, because I want to get more into that empowering feeling as a woman being a business owner. I never really wanted to be a business owner.
So what did you want to be?
I wanted to be a
princess.
nurse. Pretty much, yeah. I wanted to either save lives or literally something like that. Pretty much. So I'm in between right now.
Because you told me offset that you went to school for psychology.
Yes.
Right? So we definitely going to unpack that. And then nursing school. Like, what was, did you finish? Or like, what was that? When you got out of college, was it like, you know, fuck that shit? Or?
No. So I started nurses. My grandmother was a nurse, need I mention. So she was like my superhero growing up. I wanted to be like my grandmother. And I have to mention my brother in this. He's passed away, but he wanted to be an entrepreneur when we were growing up. Like, we had our things set. Like, we were like freaking frack. And I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. I just wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to help people. I wanted to be like my grandma pretty much too, because I would go to work with her all the time. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I'm in school, what is this, like 2013? And I get into nursing school and I realized that it's not for me.
Ooh. That's all coming down to self-discovery, but go ahead.
I realized like very early on that it's not for me. And if I do finish this, it'll be for my grandmother. So I was just like, you know, what do I want to do? And I'm very big on building relationships with people. Yeah. So I built relationships with my professors all the time. And this one woman, my professor at the time, he was black, and he was just like, you know, I want to introduce you to Miss Daly. She's more on the degree side of things. She teaches psychology. I think y'all two will like each other. Yeah. And then she was like, you know, you should take one of my classes or come help me out, see what my class is about, and then decide if you want to take the class. Yeah. So I transitioned from nursing to psychology. And I actually found that I've found so much out about my family. I found so much about myself and how I think and why my family think the way that they do. I have my great grandmother still alive. She's 99. So it's like I can still reference back in history on why we do certain things in our family. But psychology helped me out with that. So everything that I do now is like psychological. I can read a person, I can understand a person, I can really tap into what that person needs because of psychology. Yeah. So I did get my 2-year degree in that. But while I was in the pursuit of that, I found someone discovered me. and told me that I should be a stylist and took me under their wing. So that's where my transition was with getting into fashion.
But it's funny how even that 2-year degree is like a tool because the industry you in, you kind of need that. You need to be able to read people, and you need to be able to understand the way the intent behind the actions, even the thought process behind what they're doing, because it gives you an edge, right? Especially coming up in the industry. And I'm not in that industry, the fashion and all that, but I know it got to be some type of hurdles to overcome as a woman. So, you know, being able to have that discerning ability and I feel like you're very spiritual, right? So I feel like your intuition, like a lot of women say they got intuition and it burned me out. I'm gonna just flat out say that.
Why it burned you out?
Like they just use that drone, like everybody don't have it. We all have it. Like it's not like yours is any different than mine. It's literally just a gut feeling. But they're like, no, but ours is stronger. I've never seen none of your intuitions at the gym, so I don't think nobody's intuition is stronger. But I feel like you actually do have an innate sense, and it's because I watch your TikToks, right? And it's rich in spirit and TikTok, right?
Yeah.
And people they like you on there. You seem to be a likable person. Some of the things you say, but you get on there and you start reading situations and you talk about, you know, the time of what's happening in the universe and the energies that. So when did that start? You know what I mean? Not to pivot too far from the fashion industry, but I got to get into that. When did that start?
I've always been gifted. I would tell my mom things as a child, and she has always told me that, like, you know, you are very different. Yeah. Because for one, I've never had a child tell me things that actually came to pass. For two, hold on to that. So she kind of made me put it in a tuck until I got old enough to really understand it. Yeah. But it saved my life so much because, again, growing up in the hood, I was able to maneuver out of situations that most people weren't able to, especially as a girl at the time, because they just didn't have that sixth sense to, like, let's go. Yeah, for sure. Let's just get out of here. He weird. You get what I'm saying? These girls about to be on something. Like, they didn't have that, and I did, so I was able to always, like, kind of duck and weave trouble because of it. And when I spent time alone, that's when I started sharpening it. I realized that it was like an iron for me.
That's when you went to the gym for intuition?
Yeah, like I went to the gym after that, and I started to meditate more. I got into nature more, and I started asking questions about the people that were around me, like what was I like? And so that way I can understand my own.
Them how they was experiencing you?
Yeah, so because that's actually that's important.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then you understand how you're showing up for a person.
Because so many people think that I'd be like, how you going to self-proclaim being a good person? Like, that's literally
and
the
it's also
you
like
gotta give to somebody. Somebody got to, you know.
People be like, everybody's like, I'm a vibe. Like, how do you know you're a vibe?
Like, who's experiencing this vibe?
Because I've experienced you and you're a burnout. Yeah, like, you know, you're a burnout. No, I'm always, I won't say always, but I tap in very often. Yeah. It keeps me sharp. It lets me understand where I'm at mentally too, because our mental capacity can only meet people where we are.
100%.
I can't meet no one where I'm not.
Yeah.
So,
and you can only go back for them if you went farther than them to bring them up to pace.
Exactly. And I have to be discerning on who I actually do bring up, because some people
that's so funny.
don't want to be up there because they want to help you. Yeah. You know?
And another thing, one of your videos you posted, I want to say I seen it yesterday, and it was like very short, it was like 12 seconds. And it was like, I don't know if it was about overthinking and just taking action. And like, it was so funny because I needed it in that moment, right?
Love that for you.
It just turned on my TikTok, right? And here you are. And it's like, yeah, you're probably overthinking something right now. You just need to do it. I was like, you know what? I'm about to just do it. And I did it. So I want to give you your flowers for that.
I'm glad I could inspire you.
Yeah. So you big on manifestation. So you requested something. You think you could speak things into the universe?
Yeah.
All right, so what did you request?
I requested roses.
All right. Let's see if we can make this happen.
Let's see.
Click your heels 3 times.
I did have my Cinderella heels on today, so.
You can actually come out there with essential water.
No, I got the water, and I thanked you for that. I was cool with just the water.
Nah.
Oh, I love these. Yeah. Thank you.
So we like to give people their flowers. And
thank you, Will.
You requested red roses, so don't look at the price.
I'm not looking at the price.
I play too much.
I'm looking at the name of it. These are beautiful. Thank you so much.
They fit your style. And show the camera. Let them. They some good, beautiful roses.
It's like.
Nah,
they're so beautiful.
You asked, so we wanted to make sure we came through. So
appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, even just the fact that, like I said, your video helped me. So like, I would have virtually gave you some flowers. So to be able to give you some flowers in real life is like, especially because it was yesterday. Right?
Yeah.
So I needed that, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be something great to come behind the actions that I just took. But just doing it. Because sometimes, you know, we can over prepare, right? But speaking to gifts, right? I always felt like I was gifted. I even wrote about it in my book. I said I always felt like I was being guarded and guided by the higher power. Like I understand, like that I have a mission that most people won't understand. Like have you ever got caught, like, because you spoke about your sixth sense, right, and being able to evade trouble. I used to be able to do that, right? And I was actually in the streets, right? Like, and my friends, yo, he always cautious, he always paranoid, right? Like, but when I look back on it, it's like I was right.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not a moment you want to be right, but it's like there's really no such thing as being overly cautious, right? Because it's like you got one chance to get it wrong.
You do.
Like you don't have two.
You don't.
Like you got one chance
Yeah.
to get it wrong. So it's like, when is you ever wrong until you right in the wrong way? It's like, all right, it's like, was I wrong for being overly cautious? No, because I get to say that I got out of that situation versus me staying to figure out if I'm right or wrong and then end up in a situation that, you can't evade at that point. But let's talk to our gifts, right? Because like that's what I brought you here for. I don't think I ever told you. I brought you down here to talk about spirituality, you know what I mean? I won't get into religion. You're a religious person?
I am a religious person.
I still won't, for the sake of, I'm just not a big fan. I don't really talk politics and I don't really talk religion. Cause I feel
I'm okay with that because I don't really like to,
I
for
allow
the most
everybody
part.
to believe with that. But I am religious, but I still don't, but spiritually, let's talk, right? Let's talk about the universe and like how big are you on the law of attraction? And I know somebody that's religious going to be like, why are you talking about that stuff? You should only believe in, let's have a conversation. What's your perspective on the law of attraction and law of vibration and, different things like that?
It's my life, honestly. Like I am a living, walking vessel of the proof that it's real.
Yeah.
Because even if something as simple as that, the universe asks you to ask for what it is that you want specifically, and it shall show up for you.
And you know what's so funny? Because that wasn't easy for her to find. Like, I'm not joking. Like, she was like, yo, I hope I find them Jones. Like, so that's what would make it, like, even more a thing. That's literally what she said when she walked in her, like, yo, this wasn't easy.
And she has such a great energy about her. Like, don't know you that much, but love you.
I surround myself with all good vibes. Like, I don't know if you're going to catch it, but this set ain't going to be one of what you might think you are going to say. Like, nah, like, I'm very big on, like, my surroundings and the energy and the people I keep. And I even tell them that. I'm like, I forget that there's actually people that's not like us out here. Because I'm so around this environment, I be, like, shutting out. Then you be like, oh, everybody's not like that. Like, some of you people are actually on some bullshit.
It's kind of like
wrong.
How it was when I was growing up, like what I was taught in my house, and then when I got outside, it was like, wait, what is going on? Because you guys don't think like that. So one of those feelings that I get is like, it actually feels great when you actually do go out and you're around different personalities. It makes you realize how much more value you could put on the people that's around you that give you that same safe space to actually come to.
So I do want to talk about, you said that's your life. I feel like once I understood it personally, it definitely became just something that like I literally operate in, right? I combine it with everything. Cause like even getting back into religion, cause I stepped away from it for a while and I was just straight spiritual, right? And I had walked away and I realized that like I wouldn't even be strong in my faith if I never challenged it. Like I felt like so many people would be like, oh, I'm religious, but it's like, you ain't never really challenged to even say you really got faith. You just kind of heard some things, read some things, and believed some things.
Yeah.
I actually had to go out, run away from God. He caught me. I don't know if I ever really got away. I probably thought I was running, but, and then it was like, all right, now when you come back, I'm gonna show you why you went through everything that you went through while you was absent, right? And it helped me understand my faith, right? And like I said, I won't go too in-depth about it, but just the law of attraction in itself changed my life. The Secret, the movie on Netflix, and the Four Agreements, two components that literally reformed my mindset overnight. I'm talking about help me heal. And now healing is a journey, we know. But it literally, whatever it did, it like was like a light bulb went off and my energy rose up and it was like I wasn't the same person no more. I could no longer go back to who I used to be, thinking the way I was thinking. And I had no choice but to make it infectious, everybody around me. And this was, I think I came into my enlightening moment 2019. Before that, I just felt like I was always intuitive. I was smart. I was intelligent. You know what I mean? But I never understood certain stuff. I never understood why I seen certain stuff as a kid. And I used to feel like people ain't going to believe me if I say this. So I'm just not going to say it. So I used to feel alienated, right? Through my experiences. Like,
I can relate.
I don't want to say that because somebody might think I'm on some bullshit. You know what I mean? But as I got older, I was like, it ain't even for me to share, but I'm going to share my gift. Like, I understand my gifts. I literally understand what I was, like, what my mission is, right? And that's why I'm in alignment with it. And every time I stray away and, do something else, God remind me. Like, it don't take long. And I was even saying this in a previous episode, and I'm going to throw the mic back your way. But we ended in our open discussion segment, so don't worry too much. But I was like, I realized God is my accountability partner. Like, I might can deceive you. Like, I can probably outsmart you in some type of way. Not saying that you're not fast or not whatever, but I can probably find, not you specifically, but just a person, right? But I would never, because I feel like even if I could get over on you, I can't get over on God.
Yeah.
And for the first 23, 24 years of my life, I made my way being faster than everybody mentally. Like, all right, I see that coming at me. I'm trying to fit every situation to benefit me, right? Mm-hmm. And then I went through a crazy breakdown, and like right before I turned 25, it was like I got stripped of everything. Like, and I'm not talking about financially or material. I'm talking about internally, like everything I thought that meant something, my ego and my pride and you know, my perspective. It was like I went to such a dark place that when I came out, I didn't even recognize myself, right? And imagine coming out as this higher version of yourself to everybody that don't expect you or know you to be this person. So you're trying to present yourself in a new way. And it's like, yo, they don't understand why I'm not doing certain things no more. It's like, yo, I saw God. And like, I don't know if you understand what that looked like or what that feel like. But it was like, at that moment, I knew I can't do this no more. Mm-hmm. I can't explain it, or nobody probably don't get it. But I knew, I'm like, from now on, it's like, because I got over on y'all already. I proved that I'm smart. But he showed me that I can't get over on him. Yeah. So I'd rather not. I don't play with it. It'd be like, yo, I lead with good intentions. I always say, like, I can't tell you I'm a nice person every day, but I'm definitely a good person every day. Like, you might not like some stuff I say, but I know I ain't coming from bad intent. But I just say that to say, because you said it's your life, and I feel like that literally reformed me. So even if y'all here watching, if you can still find and locate the movie The Secret and read the 4 Agreements, I'm telling you, like, it literally reformed me. It was the inspiration behind cheating is not cheating, and it just elevated me as a man. It made me evaluate every aspect of myself to get better. So I definitely want to shoot that in that direction, right? But because we in this open discussion, it could become more conversational. I'll be less interviewee. I know I've been asking you a ton of questions. Through these questions that I asked you, did anything come up in your mind that you wanted to discuss or ask or even go into?
Well, I do want to touch on the fact that you had that moment where you feel like, you know, your ego was broken down and how much of a blessing that is for you, because most men don't get to experience that until, especially at that early on in time. Yeah. Like, I met a 61-year-old, and he's just now going through what you said you went through before you was 25. Yeah, 24. So, and he's like a kid again because of it. You know what I mean? So it's like such a blessing that you went through that. And I really want to touch on the name of that space that you were in. It's the dark night of the soul. Okay. It's when you literally get stripped of what you hold on to and what you value the most. So I had that same experience, but for me it was material things. Okay. Because I always had an inner sense of self. That's why I've always been confident. Yeah. But I let material things and outside influences actually hold more weight than who I was.
It started to define you.
So my living environment, everything that I had, God was just like one by one making me sell all my designer stuff. Mm-hmm. And I thought that when I moved, I went to New York for my fashion career. I moved there. I was living there for 5 years, and he just had me strip everything. I cut all my hair off. Like, it was like a whole thing. I didn't know who this girl was. Mm-hmm. And when I showed up to my family, they were like,
this was going crazy.
Well, what is going on, girl? Do you need help? You know, because like, what's happening? Do we need to call the cops? Because what is going on? Now, where's my daughter? Because this is not it.
Healing and stuff. They going
through was like, cut your hair off. Well, what is going on? Because I've always been known for being little Dia with the long, pretty hair my whole life. So I put such value in my hair, like all the time. And I was just like, you know, I want to see if I'm beautiful without this hair.
Yo,
like,
that's real.
I really genuinely do. And I'm really telling you, like, I always salute women when I see them rocking like a bald head, because to know, excuse my language, that you're a bad bitch with no hair, that's a different level of confidence, because hair really makes a person.
No, that's for sure. Especially for a woman, I know like what it means to y'all. So
that's our crown. A black woman? What? Like that's, we from a child keep your hair done.
You know what I say when I be like, she ain't done until she cut her hair.
Like,
once she cut her hair, she ain't coming back. She whatever
I
that
was
person
done.
was is over. Like once that she get that new haircut, she a new woman.
I was done. Now you see why I said I wouldn't take my ex back, because once that hair got cut, it was just like, okay, everything. It's like the book. All my ships were burned at that very space in my life.
Going back.
It was no going back.
Yeah.
It's my new life. I'm committed to whatever it is that I am right now. But to be honest with you, I started speaking when I was in that space. I started becoming more vulnerable when I was in that space. I grew up with 2 brothers, so for me personally, I got treated like a princess and carried like a princess, but I was told to be tough all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I understand that.
Like, I was told to be like, don't let nobody bully you. Like, it kind of push you a little bit in a masculine energy.
Yeah, for sure. I can
So you
understand
be growing up and you on guard all the time. It's like when I cut my hair off, I was so vulnerable that I had no choice but to really tap into this feminine space, because we got to dress extra girly now, and we got to feel extra girly now because you're going to be giving boy.
Yeah.
You know, so.
So did you go full baldy, or like what was the vibes?
It was like, I did like the,
Faith Evans. Wait, like what was the
No.
vibe? Like what was the vibe?
it wasn't.
What was it? Like what was it
People
on?
be saying I look like her. That is like so
You
tea.
do. You do.
Anyways, no, it was like I did like the Halle Berry like pixie cut.
Okay, the joint with the spikes.
Please, Joe.
I
Cut
don't
the
know what
mic.
pixie cut is. I don't know what
No, it was like it just laid down. Like it wasn't like spikes. Like I wasn't giving auntie.
So it wasn't Aunt Tanya vibes.
No, it wasn't. I wasn't. I'm on a potato salad vibes. It wasn't giving that.
All right.
No, it was
that
like
was the vision. I'm not gonna lie. That was definitely the vision.
it was like waves. Like it was like very low, very like soft, like waves type of vibe.
Yeah.
But then I got tired of that, so I let it grow out, and I just started getting braids, and I just started over.
Now I think even to that point of like that was like that transformative moment for you. For me, honestly, I'm like, so this phase, I'm 29, right? I turn 30 in almost like I turn 30 next month, right? By the time this come out, I'll already be 30. But I'm in that space now. I'm entering a new decade. I realize I finally understand this part of life where I'm like, yo, I understand my 20s now. I literally understand everything I had to go through, everything that I went through. I understand that I'm entering a new decade. So where I've been sitting in solitude and trying to figure out, knowing the responsibility that I'm going to take on going into to my 30s, and it's going to look different, and trying to figure out how I'm going to maintain that pipeline between, maintaining my youth, but at the same time stepping into the man that I want to be. And at 24 was that moment to shake me of the street life, the rap. I was a rapper, right? So when a rapper comes with having an image, that was my identity, a street nigga, rapper. I had a lot of women, so it was like, that was it, right? So every single thing I was doing what I was doing, whatever. So I was financially cool, or whatever the case may be. And for me, you would think like, because at 23, 24 and all, you'd be like, all right, yeah, I got all of this. Like, this always going, I'm always had this, right? You never know what's going to turn your world upside down. And you don't even realize that it's supposed to get turned upside down. Because I felt like a man don't become who he's supposed to become until he overcome the adverse circumstances, right? That's when we only learn from pressure, and we only respect consequences. That's just men. If women understood that, they would understand men. It's two things. Like, we don't respect coddling. We don't respect nothing, because you don't know, if a man don't have no responsibilities, he don't know pressure. If he don't know pressure, he's not a man. It's just simple. And when it comes to consequences, if there's no consequences, he's going to do whatever you want. Men don't respect a man if there ain't no consequences. If I can just run up and take something out of a man, I'm not in that space in my life, but a man's going, hey, open seas, I'm taking that. Give me that. Like, that's how they're going to get treated, because that's the way they present themselves, right? So for me, it's like now going through that transformative thing and trying to establish my new identity and learn new things about myself. And I lost my train of thought, but I'm going to still just go for where I was going. Learn new things about myself. At that age, I wasn't until now that I realized what all of that was for. Like, the pressure I went through was to make me the man that I need to be today, to become the man that I need to be moving forward. And I needed to lose my ego. Like, I literally was defined by how many women I had, how much money. And I still was a good in character, good in spirit, but at the same time, it was like, that ego was like, man, I want to have more chicks than him. I want to have more money. I want to be the top dog. Now I just be like, yo, I just want to be the best man I could be. Like, I don't really, and it's weird because I kind of want that competitive edge back to chase. I want that, but I don't know if you get it back. I'm still in my ambitious years, but I just don't know if I'm ever had that desire where it's like, because none of the material stuff matter to me. And the things I'm chasing don't come with that type of reward. So it's like, people can't even see the work I'm doing. They can't see it. So they be like, oh, you get on here and you talk. Oh, yo, I do a lot. I read every single day. I journal. Yo, I really do the work. And it's like, I can't even explain the process, because it's like, your process might be different. But it's like, that's all I could just keep saying to people. Yo, you gotta do the work.
Yeah.
Like, the same way we see success in our business from doing the work, the only way you're gonna see success in yourself is you do the work. Like,
yeah.
It's literally a simple formula. But, many people think that if I just work on this external and if I can get away with this and they'll validate me, I never gotta face myself.
Yeah.
And I start running from myself and I start walking with myself.
That's actually, honestly, I think that's really good. I don't hear a lot of men talk about this process.
Yeah.
Most guys are still in that space of like, I want to chase a lot of women. I want to do a lot of things. That's why when people be like, oh, well, why you're so single or this or that, because what they value and what they put in value on, which is having more women, seeming like they're cooler than their friends or having a certain type of stature, is not cool to them.
Yeah.
It's not cool to have a girl that be reading books. They want a girl that's out in the club every weekend. I'm just not that girl. I like to have a good time every now and then, but I also got to prepare myself for that, because also too, getting into spirituality, drinking alcohol really lowers your vibration. It puts you in a state of, that's a different type of vulnerability when you're dealing with demons. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, it's not a vulnerability where it's like you, oh, okay, I'm going to attract so much good if I let my guard down. You're under a sedation, an influence.
Yeah,
so it's anything can happen. That's why it's like, as soon as you get a drink, it's like, did she say excuse me? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it gets crazy at that point, because you're entertaining a part of yourself that's like literally so low. But I would say for myself too, it's like I lost a lot of friends when I went through that dark night of the soul for me, because of who I was becoming. And when I lost everything, it was like, that's when I found God, because it was like you were putting so much value and idolization on people, places, and things that you forgot me. And I'm a jealous God. So it's like, we need to get rid of all of that, and not even do, I just need to just take it away from you, because I'm not a punishing God in that way. I'm not spiteful, I'm not petty. It's more so of like, I need you to see why and where and what I'm taking away from you, and how big of an impact it has on you. It has on your energy, because you're wondering why you're depleted all the time. Yeah. You're wondering why you keep pouring and pouring and pouring, and you don't feel like anybody is pouring back into you. Yeah. I need to expose the character of these people that you are around every day. 100%. And more importantly, I need to expose what is within you that's keeping these people around. And when you get to that space where you realize that I don't put the blame on other people that much. I hold people accountable, and I let people know, like, hey, I don't appreciate you that you did this, and it's the principle of what it is that you did. No hard feelings, but just don't do that again. I will get there with it, but more importantly, I address how did I let it go too far, and what part of myself is actually still in that space that accepted that even put myself in that position.
Or the energy that even attracted that.
Exactly. So like, where am I vibrating at right now? And why am I still attracted to that? So it literally is, when you're on that journey, it's like how you said, a lot of people aren't going to understand. That's why I was like, I don't really talk that much, because I do most journaling, or I do my TikTok videos. It really saves me. It helps me out a lot, because I found my community on TikTok with my speaking, but Instagram is more of like my styling. They don't really want to hear that stuff. They are for the facade. They're for the, I need to look nice all the time, and who doing what and what car they driving. TikTok is more so of like, for me, an outlet where I can actually talk to real people that want real growth, and that's really trying to do the work.
Yeah, they're searching for it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's also a great representation, I feel like, because most people, when they do get involved with God, or when they do start their healing journey, they don't like the ugliness of it. Yeah. They don't like the fact that they have to sacrifice, but
give up certain stuff.
Yeah, but you think about everything great in life and everyone great in life, the sacrifices that they had to make, or the sacrifices that you have to make to get something, is real. It's like when you go to the gym. Most people get a membership and pay for it every month, but they don't go because they don't want to make the sacrifice of hurting temporarily. Just to get their body where they actually need it to be at. 100%. They don't want to break down themselves just to rebuild themselves.
Even though the stuff that they breaking down is stuff that that don't serve them.
Or exactly.
Even serve where they going.
Exactly.
And it's so funny, right? Because like people, like if you look at it theoretically, they be like hoarders of like old energies and hoarders of like old habits. And
that's a very good way to put it.
They don't want to let it go, right? But two things that I want to tap in. One, you speaking about taking accountability. I always say, you know what I mean, that accountability, that's break down the word, is us taking into account the ability that we have to make certain decisions in certain scenarios, right? So it's like I can hold you accountable within a boundary aspect of, like you said, yo, don't let this happen, X, Y, Z, you said you're going to be here by this time. But it's really on you to take into account, then what can I do to get there earlier? What can I, you know what I mean? And I feel like if we assess our own, even when I talk to my team a lot about this, don't assess me. Assess your own. It's literally not enough time in the day to assess somebody else. I got too much work to do on myself to assess you. Like, why are you assessing me? Like, why are you sitting around? And this is just me hypothetically speaking in theory, but I'm just saying, like, So when we take into account the ability we have, it's saying that what could I have done differently, right? So it's like, okay, dang, I was dealing with this girl. She extracted all of this out of me. Why did I allow it to go that far?
Yeah.
Not, yo, she was doing this and she was doing that. It's like, nah, because now I'm posting blame. And in reality, why didn't I stop it when I first noticed it, right? Because I'm pretty sure I was aware to some degree. And if I wasn't, okay, shame on you. But the moment I became aware, it's now shame on me because I know what you're doing is not right. And I don't like it and I'm still tolerating it.
Yeah.
Can't allow that to happen. The second thing you just spoke to is, which one? Oh, sacrificing. Even when we think about, they say sacrifice has a stigma, it's a negative connotation. Like they think sacrifice means giving up something you love. No, sacrifice is giving up something of a lower nature for something of a higher nature. Like you can't want to be trusted but have deceitful ways. Like why would I trust you?
You should say that one more time.
I just watch you lie. Like you're a liar. Like you're not trustworthy. That's why I don't trust you. You have to give up your lying ways to become trustworthy. You want to be loved, but you have so much anger and hate in you. You have to give that up. You got to exemplify love. So my cousin on my way here, he was like, yo, cuz you got such a positive mindset, because he was doing something within his business. And I was like, I basically just spoke to him and let him know, like, just speaking just positivity over the situation. And I was just letting him know, like, yo, my mind, the switch that's in my mind I'm not going to act like I don't have my days. We human. But I don't, not even my days, my moments.
Yeah.
Because it's like, we got to go through the moment.
Yeah.
But my switch is already flipped to a high vibration. I already sacrificed the pride and the ego of winning. I don't want to win. I don't even care to win a debate. It's like, did you hear what I said? Did I understand what you said? Did we understand where each other come from?
But that's a win, though.
Yeah, that's the win. But the old win
that
was
is a win.
Shutting somebody down or used to feel like I got over on this person. Whereas now it's like,
that's the ego.
It's the ego, right?
The soul wants understanding.
So sacrifice the ego and go towards the soul. And that was like that moment for me. But I'm big on the laws. Like, it's so many different laws. People only stop at the law of attraction. Literally is the law of karma, the law of vibration, the law of reciprocity, the law of forgiveness. Everything that we can think about.
The law of self-destruction
is literally a law. And if you actually read about these things and understand how they govern your life, you won't play with it.
Yeah.
Like, I do not play with the laws. Like, people can understand the laws of physics and the laws of gravity. Like, you understand, it don't matter what type of person you are. If you walk off a roof, you're going to fall. Because gravity's going to pull you down to the ground. Like, it's just no way. You understand the laws of physics. If you throw a ball at this speed and you throw this ball at this speed, one is going to travel and arrive at this. This is how GPS works. How do you think they can calculate your time? Because these are the laws. You think about the laws of dynamic, with the airplanes, whatever that law is. You can think about these different things. You think about the laws of nature. Night follows day, day follows night, summer follows winter. These things happen every year.
Yeah.
But you don't think that the other universal laws is accurate? Like, you literally don't think that attraction is real? Like, how do you think you can be attracted to a person, but you can't attract a circumstance to you? Like, people don't think that they're responsible for their own agony and defeat and pain.
I had a mentor, my very first mentor, and this was stuck with me is because he's seen how my family was. My family are very pessimistic thinkers. I'm the only optimistic person in my family for the most part. And I kind of took on their ways a lot, and I didn't realize it until I got around other people. When you're in a habitat of something consistently happening, you don't feel like you're doing nothing wrong.
Because it's right to that community.
Because we're all doing the same thing, so we combative with each other, we arguing with each other, but we don't realize that we're doing anything wrong because ultimately we think we're doing it out of love. Mm-hmm. But in the reality of it is when you get out into the world, it's something completely different. It is the laws. And he said to me, you have to look at your family like they're children, like they're 3 or 5 year olds when you talk to them, because this is something that's new for them, and you have to break it down for them in increments.
Yes.
You can't give it to them just straight like that.
Not where you at.
You think about a child, you gotta break a chicken nugget down for them to even be able to digest it. You can't just give a whole chicken nugget to a little toddler. Mm-hmm. They're gonna put the whole thing in their mouth. Yeah. But if you put it in bite-sized pieces, they can grab onto it, take their time, and they can process it. Yeah. So it's the same thing with people that don't understand the laws. It goes back to studying them and listening and watching, being observant. If I can observe you, I can show you how your everyday actions is affecting you in a way that you understand it, not from my way.
Yeah, for sure.
It goes back into even love languages. I can love you all day long the way that I want to be. If you don't like gifts, but I'm buying you gifts all the time, it's like, why are you not like,
you're not being grateful.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But whole time, yours is like quality time. Yeah, it's not just about sending the gift. Yeah, so it goes back to listening, paying attention, and being observant. And I'm going to use this conversation that I had with my mom one day in the car. So I went through something that was just like very traumatic for me at the time. And she wanted to keep talking about it. Yeah. So I told her, with all due respect, Mom, like, I appreciate the fact that you're trying to help me, but I would rather not talk about it. And she went to go pump on the brakes. Like, it was like me being a child again. Like, who are you talking to? Because I set a boundary.
Yeah.
And
Parents do not like boundaries.
it made her uncomfortable because it was like, who do you think you are? But that's why I said, with all due respect, I was just like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but you think about when somebody is pushing at you and you don't want to talk, it makes you frustrated. Yeah. Then you get to a place of anger and I'm saying things that I don't mean to you. Yeah. Let me digest what I went through, process that, and then I can get back to you when I'm ready to talk about it. 100%. So she still wasn't trying to hear what I was saying. My stepdad, on the other hand, called her on the phone maybe 15 minutes later, and he wanted to keep talking about an issue that she just was pissed about. And I said, you just told him you don't want to talk. What was the difference in me saying, with all due respect, I don't want to talk about it? You see how it feels. The difference is
that came back quick.
It came back quick. That's the law, though. It doesn't matter when it comes back, it comes back. Yeah, for sure. And luckily it came back so quick because in that instinct she could see it, feel it, and understand it. So it was like, you told him to stop. You hung up. You had to hang up on him because you were starting to get angry and frustrated. The difference is with me, I don't let people anger me or frustrate me anymore. It's like when I was coming in, you was like, how was your ride here? And I was just like, girl, I can complain about a few things, but I'm in a space of gratitude and I'm going to turn it into something good and say the ride was great. I got here safely. It's nothing that I really have to complain about when I really get deep down into it. And me complaining is going to set my mood off of what I actually bring into here.
100%. So you can see shit or you can see sugar. The law of polarity says there's a positive for every negative. So as much as you found the issues, you could find things that was good about it. You know what I mean? You had more time to get ready, and was able to see more on your ride here, whatever the case may be. There's so many things that you could take out of any situation, literally perspective based. But going back to, there was something you said, and it was in regard to, all right, so I'm going to do this. We're going to cut to another quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to pick up this conversation. It's really getting good. Yeah, my train of thought had went out for a quick second. But that brief break gave me the opportunity to catch it. So what I was going to say was, when you were speaking towards love languages, I was going to say many people never step outside of themselves to view things from other people's perspective, right? Everybody want to be heard, but nobody want to listen. You know what I mean? Everybody want to be understood, but nobody want to be understanding. So it's like nobody even taking when they assessing somebody, it's always negatively. What they not doing, not what they need. Nobody never just sit down and be like, damn, this person, like, they need somebody to just talk to. They like, they going through. They always, you not doing this. You need to be doing this. Not, you need to listen. So when I start realizing, I'm like, yo, people don't even step outside of to even look at how somebody want to be loved or what that looks like to them because they just come in with what they got to give and they can't even fathom you not wanting what they offering. And it could be a slight adjustment in their approach that might change everything, but because they're not alert and attentive to what could benefit somebody else, because if I'm a server, right? I seek to serve. I used to be, I don't say mad at myself, but I used to be like, at some point you could question, like, yo, am I the only one that's willing to I'm so selfless, right? Like, it don't even feel right being selfish. Like, I can't even feel right if I'm not being selfless. That's just me. That's my own spirit. And I used to think that people could carry it like me, right? So now when I talk to a lot of people, I be explaining like, yo, God didn't instill that into them to be that way. Yeah. That's on you to be selfless. But through my selfless spirit, it allows me the ability to pay attention to what people need and what they want. And I noticed that not a lot of people do that. So I try to advocate for it. Like, yo, you have to actually pay attention. Like, you might think you giving somebody a good vibe, but it's like you giving them the vibe you projecting onto them. You're not even seeing what they want. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when you said that about the love languages, it just made me think that not enough people, and if you out here and you watching, I want y'all to tap into that. Like, assess yourself and how you show up for people, and if that's what they want. And even if you gotta actually ask them, like, hey, like, what can I do to be a better friend? Yeah. Like, I'll ask my kids.
I'm heavy on that.
Yeah, what can I do to be a better dad? Like,
I love my friends.
Yeah, I'm not afraid to ask that, right? And like, I think that for the most part, some people might just be like, oh, you don't gotta do nothing. They might, because a lot of people don't know what they want. So a lot of people have deep expectations. They don't even know. You don't know yourself. You don't know what you want. So now, here we are. I'm serving you. And you just taking it, but it's all momentary feelings. It's like, oh, this feels good in the moment because you don't know what you want. So you're just looking for them temporary fulfillments. And this happens in every area of life. We buy purchases that we really don't want long term. You ever bought something, you look back like, yo, I ain't really want that. I wanted it on that day at that moment, and it felt good. And it's no different than if we under the influence, so we want to have one night stands, and it's just like, yo, that felt good last night, but it's like today it literally benefited me nothing. And I ain't saying don't have one night stands, because I ain't gonna say that I had my last one in my life. I don't know. Who knows? That's just the truth. But for the most part,
guys, please use protection.
For sure. Nah, that is so funny. Like, even everything that he
advocated that without advocating for the protection. Please,
you gotta protect yourself. You know what I mean? And this for the ladies too. Protect yourself too, because
yes.
don't put it in just in our hands to protect y'all. Like, I think that's like one of the things where it's like, nah, like. So I know some women out here are like, yo, yeah, put a condom on, but some of them don't. They're like, oh, he didn't grab one, so I didn't. And I know some people are like, no, because that shit don't. But it's like, at the end of the day, if you don't, then you got to be okay with how that turned out, whether that's with a baby or with something else.
I really want to touch on this. I feel like as a community, we put so much value on a man being in love with you if he don't have protected sex with you, that women don't even it'd be like, yeah, we raw this, we raw that. It's like a bragging right to have a man to say that that's the case.
Okay.
So that's why a lot of women don't buy protection, because it's like, oh, well, if you don't, like, you supposed to be vibing with me like that. You ain't supposed to be, I've noticed that.
Yeah, no, I've seen the discussion.
I went through, like.
Even the girl even said, like, yo, what, you don't trust me? I'm like, what that got to do with? No, I'm like, why is that equated to me not trusting you? Like, what you think, I'm dirty? Like.
But also, people don't realize for me at this point with where I'm at spiritually, protection is like protecting myself with boundaries in real life, because it's like the spirits that you actually get without that protection, you're still having intercourse with the person, but it's a little block there. You're not getting the raw DNA 100% of that person, because you have protection on, so you're safe a little bit. Like, you still tainted a bit, but not as much.
100%.
Opposed to just rolling it, and this person talking on the phone with all of these people, and because even talking on the phone, like, you could get an energy and get a spirit that's attached to you just being around a person. You don't even have to sleep with a person. Yeah. So when you put it into perspective on how many people this person have on them, and they're definitely not doing the work, you want to either reevaluate sleeping with them all in all, or definitely using some type of protection.
Yo, it's so funny because, like, it's like, even when I think about, like, I don't really get into the whole dating just trash conversation, because I don't believe that. I feel like we attract where we are.
Yeah.
But it's just about being patient too, because, like, you could attract, like, where you aren't as well. Like, a lot of, like, it's no shortage of people that's looking for people. Like, so, like, whether you're a woman that's single or a man that's single, it's not no shortage on people that's available.
Yeah.
But it's like, is these people the right person, right? And I feel like entering these years of my life, I was just saying, like, it's weird because it's like I'm trying to enjoy the bachelor years, but it got to be so intentional. Like, I'm not just looking to I did it already. Like, when you're young and it don't matter, and like, quite frankly, a lot of my life went the way it did because of a lot of decisions I made, right? I ended up in predicaments that I didn't prepare for, and in situations that I just didn't think would be my life, right?
Yeah.
But it was all off me thinking with my little head, not my big head, right? So no, seriously, and a lot of men don't arrive at a space where they are able to differentiate the two different thoughts, because, like, a man is at his weakest and most vulnerable when he's thinking with his little head, flat out. Like,
definitely.
And the women that understand that, they know how to play on that. They seductive. Just think of it like, not to get too deep into the subject, but think of a sex worker. They know how to work a man's pockets. Your finances is I can say the most important thing because it's guy, but at the end of the day, that's your stability.
Yeah.
You go in this location, this woman is taking your finance from you with seduction and conversation and good for you in that moment, good vibes, and you walking out of there with less money, right? So, no, that's just the truth, right? You in there throwing your bread away, and that's because you're operating with your lower self. And it's not to say that sex is not an amazing thing, because it is, and, like, that's one of the things I enjoy a lot. But I had to realize, like, just because I want to sleep with women don't mean I need to sleep with every woman that want to sleep with me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I be noticing even in my space now, and niggas like, man, and they'll think because of a chick bad, I be like, yo, she ran through, I'm cool. Like, my mind just don't work like that no more. I can't find attraction to a girl with a certain mindset. I don't care how good she look, it's gonna turn me off. And a girl could be whatever somebody might consider to be not that beautiful, but have a crazy energy, and I'd be like, yo, I'm attracted to her. Like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that all came once I started to vibe at a higher level and just really just kind of operate in that and understand that I'm not exchanging spirits with you. I don't even talk to girls that talk to certain, like, if you talk to niggas that vibe at this level, that's too close to me. Like, I'm not in the streets no more. You attracted to street niggas? I come from there. I can't take nothing away from it. I was a good guy in the streets. I did what I did. But I understand the streets. So it's like you attracted to that. You don't even think long. You don't have a longevity mindset.
Yeah.
You're temporarily taking the gifts and the perks that come with this, and you don't understand the risk and the danger that you putting yourself into when you deal with these type of situations. So it's like, I don't want to have a baby by you. You already put yourself in harm's way. Even when we think about a woman that go to the club a lot, nothing wrong with it. I'm not in that phase of my life. If I'm in the bed by midnight, I don't want to be waking up at 2 a.m. because my girl just coming in.
I'm crying.
If that's what you want, be on that, right? Because I'm not a controlling person. Live your phase of your life. But understanding that I got to find a woman that's like kind of past that because, again, I'm a man. It's my job to protect. How am I going to protect my woman in an environment that I don't go in?
Yeah.
Like, you follow what I'm saying? So you're intentionally putting yourself in an environment that I don't visit often. Now you're taking me out of my element because I wouldn't go to the club. I wouldn't put myself in this predicament, but I'm here to make sure you're okay, whether something happens or whatever. So I had to learn through my elevation of, okay, what am I looking for? What's the hobbies of the woman that I want to attract? What do I do within myself? What are the habits that I create? And, you know, I say these things for the, and we wrapping up, we about to land the plane, but I say these things for the man that's watching. This is why it's important to know yourself, because if you know yourself, you could pick the woman that's for you based on your lifestyle. So you don't got to try to change her. You don't got to be labeled controlling or insecure or manipulative. Just find a woman that's on what you on. When I was in the club phase of my life, me and my chick go to the club together. Wonder why? I'm right there, so I don't have nothing to worry about. We in the same world. But I'm not going to align myself with a woman that's in a space that I'm no longer in, because now we trying to combine two different worlds, right? And it just don't work like that. Y'all should create one world and make it come together. So that's where I'm going to land the plane. I'm going to let Radia bring it in and give out some of her, you know, give us one of them things. Like, read the room. Give us something. Is that too pressureful, or you could do it on demand?
It's definitely big pressure.
All right, I'm sorry. Let's reset. Boom. Let's give it a moment. If you are able and in that space, you know, just tell me how you feeling right now.
Honestly, how am I feeling right now? I feel like mood-wise.
I mean, let's just unpack. Let's just see how we go as we land in the plane.
Honestly, mood-wise, I would just say I feel very relaxed, very elegant. I'm very, like, comfortable, if that makes any sense. Even though I might not look like it, I feel comfortable because this is a comfortable environment. You guys have, for some degree, made me feel at home. I also feel inspired. Like, for the most part, I feel like after today, I have some duties to do that's going to literally, I feel like, get me closer to where it is that I want to go. And my motto, I actually have a clothing brand that's coming out. It's me today versus me yesterday. And it's something that I came up with 5 years ago. And it's just doing something every single day that's going to get you closer to who you actually desire to be. And I feel like you've touched on that a few times today, even though I didn't like interrupt you, but you kind of said it in some degree. It's just about, like, say, for instance, if you're having a bad day yesterday, have a better day today. Don't do the same thing that you did yesterday. If you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, go back to sleep for 5 minutes, wake back up, and then put some water on your face. It's kind of like the same thing. But I do want to just touch on the fact that I have this slogan that I go by as of today, and it's everything that I want is in a different environment for me. So who I am becoming is not where I currently am. This is my comfort zone.
It's a rest stop.
Exactly. It's just a stepping stone for me. So it's like how you went back to, like, the type of woman that I'm looking for, what type of hobbies would she have? It's the same thing with me. The type of man that I'm looking for is not going to be like, oh, well, I don't be doing nothing all day. I'm just smoking, or I'm just going to the club. He's at the Fiddler Club. That is a club, but it's a different type of club. He's at a golf course or wherever.
Right.
He's doing something productive with himself, something that's wealthy like. So it really goes down to that. It goes back to the equally yoked and the compatibility. You can't make somebody something that they're not. The two of you should be a puzzle piece, and it's also kind of like here, everybody's good at something different. Yeah. That's what makes the puzzle great. So.
100%. And I just got one last question, then we done. What is this symbolic for? You can keep it brief, but I do want to know. The ring, both of them. I need to see them. So what is that, like a birthstone or something? Like, are you like holding it there for when you replace it? Because I know some girls do that as well.
This one here is like a promise ring to myself.
Okay.
And it is a clear quartz. Okay. So it keeps me grounded all the time, and it cleanses my energy.
Okay.
I feel in my journey, I've found that that's something that I actually need. Is something I'm very intense. My energy is intense, even for myself. So I don't be surprised when people say that to me. So it keeps me grounded. It keeps me clear-minded and clear energy-wise. And then this one here, I just thought it was like so me.
Okay, got you.
So
I
just wear it every day. Yeah, it's just so me. Like, it's a pink heart diamond, and then it's 24K gold. It's kind of like a personality symbol.
Got you.
Yeah.
All right, so First of all, it was an amazing conversation. I appreciate you taking the time to come sit with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I feel like people gonna take a lot from this. So I'm grateful that we was able to get that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let them know where they can find you. Let them know what you got. You already said what you got coming up, but just give me your Instagram and everything, and you go in there with it.
Oh, and also too, thank you for the flowers on camera.
Yeah.
But you can find me on TikTok. Rich in Spirit is RxCH in Spirit. My Instagram is Roddy and it's RxCH Rich.
Okay, make sure you let them know how you spell Roddy too, though.
Oh, RADI.
Yeah, because they just search up the rapper.
Yeah.
But yeah, so don't go nowhere because when we come back, we're going to have our Ask Wolf segment. And yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation. I'll see y'all back soon.
Why is it so hard for most men to open up?
I think that it's not about opening up that's hard. I think because men are solution based, we really understand that is no point in crying, right? Because the problem still is going to exist, or the problem still has to get solved, or if it's going to get solved, then it's like, what's the cry about? So I don't really think that it's opening up that's the problem. And a lot of times we feel misunderstood, and we always felt like we got shut down and was told like it's really nothing to talk about, right? But it's like it take a lot for a man to show a woman his vulnerable side, you know what I mean? Because we suppress it so much. But like I said, when it comes down to like crying and all of that type of stuff, I think that we get told that like, oh yeah, men be afraid to cry. But I thought about it. I'm like, that's not true. In reality, it's just like, what am I crying for? Like, if I got a situation that has to be handled, I have to handle the situation. Crying about it is not going to change the situation. So there's no need to cry about it. But in the event that I'm experiencing some real pain or, you know, feeling really, really vulnerable and emotional, I mean, I cry. I'm not going to sit and act like I don't, but I'm not about to just cry because, you know, I got a traffic ticket, or I cry because it's like something just went wrong for that day. It's like, I'm a man. I'm going to figure it out. That's just how it go.
So for a woman who wants her man to open up, how can she effectively assist or like aid in him doing so?
Create a safe space, right? Like men, we got a lot of hardships that we face in the world. Like we got to go up against other men all day, then go against other strangers all day. It's like, we don't want to come back and deal with a combative woman, or, you know what I mean? Just be in a space where we feel like the woman that we want to talk to don't even understand, or she got her own thing that she want to address. So she's disregarding anything that we want to talk about, because again, goes to that notion of just like it not being that important or appearing that way. But if you create a safe space, a man ain't going to shut up. You the only person he going to open up to, right? Because I know for me, you know, I've had women in my life that, you know, I feel so safe and comfortable with them that I open up to them about everything. But that don't just happen. I'm not going to open up to somebody that's going to use what I'm saying as a red button to trigger me and, you know, tear me down and just make me feel less of a man. If you want me to open up, then you got to create that space in me knowing that what I'm saying to you is safe with you, and you're never going to weaponize it against me when you get mad. And as long as you don't do that, I feel like a man will always open up to you.